else wanted to say. The young lady got up, and both he and another brother there named Bernard Nash both led us to the Lord. We prayed the sinner's prayer where I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. About a year later, and the reason why I was going to Grambling State University is, God messed up all my plans. The whole reason for me going to Grambling State University was to play football. And I was going there because to play for one of the most premier coaches at the time was Coach Eddie Robinson. And my father had played baseball for him. All my high school football coaches went to Grambling and played for him. And that was the whole point. Actually, Jesus finding me there was not part of the equation at that time. And about a year later, when the Lord called me to ministry, I remember walking up the street, and I was actually going to be meeting with Coach for a few things about, our up-and-coming game for that season. The Lord spoke to me and said, in a still quiet voice, he said, if you give me football, I will bless you greater than the NFL. And I said, Lord, what can be greater than the NFL? Think about all the money I could tithe and offer to the kingdom of God. And so the Lord said again, if you give me football, I will bless you greater than the NFL. And at that point, before I even met with Coach Robinson, I understood at that moment what God was calling me to. And at that moment, I was like, I wasn't really afraid about telling my family, even Coach. When I met with Coach Robinson, I told him the experience I had on the way over to him. I told him the Lord's called me into ministry. He's asking me to get football up. And so I was braced for a really bad reaction from him. But I was so surprised when Coach Robinson said, he said, son, if the Lord is calling you into ministry, he says, effective immediately, you are no longer on this team. He says, because serving God and going after God's call in your life is more important than the game. And Coach Robinson, showed me his Christian faith at that moment by saying that. Most college coaches are more interested in winning games and having the pieces that they need to fit in their program to do so. But he was more than just a coach. He was a mentor and a father to us. And he was a father to a lot of fatherless there. And I love him for being that encouragement to me to follow after the ministry. It was because of the Southern Baptist Convention, my life had been transformed through the Baptist Student Union. Even when I went to seminary, meeting and attending Franklin Avenue Baptist Church, the Lord put me in touch with Pastor Luder, who became another mentor and a father in the ministry, to help me get to this place where we are now. To give me a heart and fire of wanting to plant churches, wanting to go ahead and be equippers. And I'm very excited that we're in this place and time that we can serve God in the way that he's calling us to serve him. Because the one thing that we are happy to announce at Kinsman Redeemer that we always teach and preach is that we need to prepare for our soon incoming King because Jesus is coming back. And that's the reality. And what we need to do as a church is to preach that message to the lost and equip God's people. And our whole philosophy and our spiritual DNA that makes us up as Kinsman Redeemer is, as leadership, is to help finding out what God has called you to, help you in that call by teaching you and equipping you and then sending you. That is the biblical model, and that's what we're doing. Thank you.